everyone, it is April. Today I'm going to recommend you some really good holiday reads. I love a good holiday read at this time of year. I don't think I would read a lot of Christmas stuff any other time of year, but these ones will put a smile on your face. And I hope that you will enjoy them. I hope you haven't read all of them. So let's dive right in, starting with a book that I'm actually in the middle of right now while I'm filming this. I don't know exactly when this one is going up, but I'm reading One Day in December, and it is so heartwarming and easy to read. So One Day in December is a romance, and I'm liking it. It reads very much like Bridget Jones. It's that kind of British humor that I really, really love. And this follows a woman. She's young. I think she's in her early 20s, and she's on a bus in December and looks out the window, and there's this guy, and they have this moment where they like know that they're drawn to each other, and the moment passes, she doesn't see him again until her best friend and roommate introduces her to her new boyfriend. And guess who it is? It's that guy. And it is about two people, 10 chances, and one unforgettable love story. And it's a lot of fun. I've been loving it so much. It's like the perfect read for me at this time of year. So I'd highly recommend that. I would also naturally recommend A Christmas Carol to You by Charles Dickens. I read this for the first time. I can't believe it. For the first time, I read this on my honeymoon, on my way back from lounging on the beach. I read A Christmas Carol because my anniversary is December 12th. So it was right around Christmas, and it's so wonderful. Everyone knows the story about Ebenezer Scrooge and the ghosts that came to change his heart and change his mind about the world and how he wants to walk in the world, essentially. And I loved it. It's the type of book that's very short, and I'd like to actually read it again very soon. Maybe I should start reading that every year. I need to get a smaller copy. I've got like a big honkin' copy of like A Christmas Carol and then like 10 million other short books that he wrote. So anyway, random. Moving right along, we've got another ghost story, and that is The Woman in Black by Susan Hill. Now, the reason that I'm recommending this is because it is told. It's a story. It literally opens with a group of family members sitting around on Christmas Eve, and they're all going around and telling ghost stories. And then it gets to the stepfather, and he's like excuses himself because he's so terrified of telling his story, because his story is true. And it's about the woman in black, and it's about him when he was a young solicitor going to this huge home called Eel Marsh House, and going through this woman's affairs because she's died, and then he is haunted while he's there. It's really good, also super short. And if you want something a little bit different for Christmas, I think this is perfect. It's told on Christmas Eve. What more can you want? All right, moving right along. I've got a book that I always recommend to you guys, and several of you have read this book and have said that you've read it because of me. And I'd say out of any book that I've ever recommended to you, this is the one. When people say, I read this because of you, April, I literally feel warm and tingly inside because I love it that much. And that is Come Thou Tortoise by Jessica Grant. Now I'm going to try to explain it, and I'm going to do it all wrong. In this book, we follow a girl named Audrey. She finds out that her father is in a coma because he was hit in the head by a Christmas tree. Now he's in a coma, and she is trying to get to him. She's not sure if he's going to survive or not. She's trying to get to him in time. She's taking an airplane. And it is about what happens when she gets there. She meets her Uncle Toby, and she dives into what happened to her father. And Audrey, it never says exactly what Audrey has. She is a quirky girl, and you will fall completely in love with her. You also happen to follow Winifred, her pet tortoise, who she leaves behind. Like, it's the strangest book when you try to explain it. It's so weird, but it's wonderfully weird. Wonderfully, wonderfully weird. And I really hope you read it. Now, for all of the historical fiction lovers out there, I've got one for you as well, and it is Last Christmas in Paris. This book is a really lovely book. I'm also a little bit sad at times. This follows a woman whose brother and her brother's best friend both go to war. I think it's World War I, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty darn positive it's World War I. I should know, I read this, but it was a couple of years ago now. And it is essentially her writing to her brother and also writing to her brother's best friend, and this correspondence back and forth, her caring for these men in her life who are at the front, essentially. And there is romance in here as well. This isn't overly Christmas heavy, but it all leads up to Christmas, essentially, and I really enjoyed reading it. Next is another book that is not, it doesn't scream Christmas, but I have to mention it and recommend it here. It is the Nevermoor series. So, you know how in Harry Potter, the best scenes are the Christmas scenes? Well, again, in the Nevermoor series, the best scenes are the Christmas scenes. The Christmas scenes in this book are so magical. This is a middle grade kind of fantasy story, set of stories. And we follow a little girl named Morrigan Crow. And she lives in a world where she's, she thinks she's cursed and she's meant to die on her, is it her 13th birthday, her 12th birthday? I can't remember anymore. But this man named Jupiter North comes sweeping in and steals her away to Nevermoor. And she has to compete to try and get into a school. And that's what happens in the first book. And then it follows along her journey in Nevermoor as the books go on. And they are so magical. There is something about this time of year that I just want to read really magical books. I just finished reading the third book in that series on audio. Also, oh my gosh, if you can get these on audio, please do. It's so wonderful. The narrator is fantastic. So I would so recommend that. I also want to recommend, I want to read this right. It's called Christmas Days, 12 Stories and 12 Feasts for 12 Days. This is by Jeanette Winterson, and it is 12 stories at Christmas, and they are magical. I need a copy of this for myself. Must make a mental note of that. These are wonderful stories. Some of them are sad. Some of them are incredibly heartwarming and exciting. There's this whole story about a dog that gets stuck in a cracker, like a Christmas cracker, and don't worry, he's safe, but it's about his adventure. They were just delightful. And one Christmas I read them from the 1st of December to the 12th. I know usually the 12 days of Christmas are like I think the 12th of December to the 24th, but I count down to my anniversary, which is the 12th. So that's the way I do it when I read that book. But I really, really loved it, and I so recommend that one. And then, last but not least, is Little Women. This also starts on Christmas Day, and we follow the March sisters, whose father is at war during the Civil War, and they have no Christmas presents for Christmas, and they're very sad about it. But it is about family and the bonds and friendships of sisterhood and the importance of family and the importance of sisterhood. And all of the girls are actually quite different from one another, but they're all marches. They're all marches, and I loved them so much. P.S. I'm Amy. Nobody likes Amy, but I'm Amy in my family, and I love her, so whatever. If you don't like Amy, you probably wouldn't like me. Anyway, I hope that this brought you some joy. I hope that you will pick up one of these for this Christmas season. Let me know in the comments below. Can you recommend a Christmas book to us? I would love to know what yours are. I've never also included like Christmas picture books that I have for Nora in this video. I try to do this video every year because I always seem to accumulate more recommendations, but I never do like chapter books and like little picture books, I should say. So let me know if you'd like that next year. That's a long way away, but I'm just putting it out there. I hope you guys are doing well, and I'll talk with you soon. Bye.